We've all heard the hype. The Quad Cortex takes the concept of amp capture into a whole new level. But does it live up to the hype? Let's find out. I've got to be honest. This is the feature of the Quad Cortex that I've been the most interested in. When I first got a Kemper, I really wasn't all that satisfied with it until I started creating profiles of my own amps. And even though I like a lot of what I'm hearing with the built-in amp models in the Quad Cortex, if I'm going to use it as my daily driver, then more than likely, I'm going to want to make captures of my own amps dialed in my own way. So I wanted to do this little test to see just how well the Quad Cortex does making captures of three pretty different amps. For this video, I wanted to grab neural captures kind of across the gain spectrum, so I chose three amps that I think fit the bill pretty well. The three amps are my 1970 Fender Bandmaster, my 100-watt Marshall Vintage Modern, and my Marshall JVM 410. For the sake of consistency, I'm going to run all three amps through my no-name 412 cabinet loaded with Celestion G12 EVH speakers. The cab is mic'd with a 57, a 421, a vintage 67 from JZ microphones, and an SE Electronics VR1 ribbon mic. For more info on my mic scheme, you can check out that video right up there. I'll also leave a link in the description. For each amp, I've dialed in a blend of the microphones and then sent them through an output of my interface into my Quad Cortex. For my first attempt, I wanted to try something simple, classic, and it doesn't get much more classic than those old Fenders. So I've dialed in a clean sound with some spank and some punch. Here's how it sounds. Okay, now I'm going to bring up Cortex Control so you can kind of see what I'm doing and follow along. You can see, got some levels set here. Everything looks good. So let's get started. Okay, now during this part, it's doing some machine learning, training, whatever. Basically building the model out of all the data that it just got back from the amp. This takes a few minutes, and then it's done. And it's done. So let's now take a listen. I'm going to start with the amp, and then I'm going to switch between them so you can have kind of a frame of reference. This is the amp. And this is the model. Capture. So let me try a different kind of a riff now. Wow, that's really close. I definitely think we could work with that. A little later, I'll set up a preset with some effects and EQing and stuff and kind of see how it sounds more in context. But for now, we got more amps to do. The Marshall Vintage Modern is somewhat of a sleeper. Despite being a really cool concept and an incredible sounding amp, it just didn't seem to catch on, and that's a shame. I've dialed in a slightly crunchy tone. To me, it's reminiscent of something Warren Haynes might use. It sounds like this. Let's capture that. Okay, let's compare. I'll start with the amp. my ears, this sounds really close. I do hear some very slight differences. The amp capture sounds like it might have a touch more drive, which makes it sound smoother, and I actually like it better. But these differences are really small. In the context of a mix or playing it live, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be able to hear a difference. And it feels identical to the real vintage modern, and that's huge. A rig that sounds great but feels artificial is no fun to play on, believe me. In the past, on other devices, I've sometimes had trouble grabbing amp captures of sounds with a bunch of distortion, so I wanted to include something here with a bit more drive. The Marshall JVM 410 is a great choice for this because, as far as Marshalls go, you don't get much more high gain than the JVM. So I've dialed in a sound here. It's not super overdriven, but it's nice and crunchy. Let's do it. Let's listen. Wow, this is outstanding. The Quad Cortex seems to capture the low-end girth. The mids are just about right, and the highs are right about where they should be for this amp. And again, it feels just like I'm playing through the JVM. Wow, just wow. I mentioned earlier that I would create a preset to better show how these captures sound in context. I've created the preset. Now I'll walk you through what I've done here. I'm on the Bandmaster right now. I've added a compressor, just a little bit, 2.7, volume almost middle, EQ up just a little bit. For the amp, you can see I've loaded the capture of the 1970 Bandmaster. Haven't changed a thing other than the volume, because this capture was a little bit quiet. I've added some delay, there's some ambience verb, just a little bit, and then I've added some hall reverb. And it sounds like this. Now, I've also got a chorus on this preset. Let me turn that on. Now, if I were setting this up for live use, I would probably do something with some EQ, but not a whole lot because I really like how that sounds. So I used a preset that I made earlier when I did my video on dialing in a crunch and lead tone. It's right up there and it'll be in the description. So, and I just added a few things here. So as you'll notice, for the Vintage Modern, it looks exactly the same. Got the Vintage Modern amp capture, everything's flat there. Same delay, same reverb, same... That's it. notice there's another device block up here. This is one of the neural captures that ships with the Quad Cortex, and it's a capture of the Xotic BB Boost, which I happen to use right over there in my little pedal board for my rig. So I went ahead and added one of those just if I want more gain on this sound. And it sounds like this. Now, I think with some EQing, that would sound amazing as a lead sound. Now, finally, for the preset of the JVM 410, I didn't change a thing. I just added the capture of the JVM and then, of course, the delay and verb. And it's the same preset from the other two. And it sounds something like this. Again, this capture sounds fantastic. And as with all of the other captures, just making the capture is only the beginning. There's so much that you can do to build just an insane rig in the Quad Cortex. So there you go. I'd say the Quad Cortex definitely lives up to the hype with regard to creating neural captures, at least with the 3 amps I tried, and they're pretty different amps. And with the ability to do so much after you make the capture, the possibilities are darn near endless. But this is only the first test. I plan on doing a lot more neural captures with my Quad Cortex, and I'd like to hear from you. What type of sounds do you think I ought to try to make captures of next? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.